1, 2, 3.
Hello and welcome to Kayfabe Is Dead Podcast, episode 15. I'm your host, the voice of the youth, Christian. How you guys doing today? I'm not too bad myself. As I'm recording Wednesday, April 5th. It should be up Wednesday for SoundCloud, probably Thursday for YouTube, just because I try to upload it at my college, just because the internet speed is ridiculous. And mine, not so much. But either way, this is not about that. This is about the days after Mania. If you guys are new to this podcast, this is where we talk WWE wrestling, maybe some other wrestling news, but I'm telling you right now, as far as this episode goes, just going to be Raw, SmackDown, my thoughts on those, and basically my thoughts on anything going around in the WWE universe right now. And I just use the WWE universe term. That's quite disgusting. Nevertheless, let's talk about it. We're rebounding from Mania. Mania season's done. We're going to have to wait another 365 for next Mania. And, the Raw after Mania, the SmackDown after Mania, those are always the best shows. It's always the most exciting shows. Did these live up to it? Did these fall flat? We'll find out. Stay tuned. Well, stay tuned. I act like I was going somewhere. I really got to work on transitions. You know what I mean? See, I know my flaws. But now down to the actual Raw recap and everything. We're going to start off with Raw. We're going to go to SmackDown. It should be a pretty quick show today, to be honest. I don't have anything else planned besides talking about Raw and SmackDown. And truthfully, not that there wasn't too much to talk about, but not too much recapping of anything. You know what I mean? I could just say what happened, give my thoughts, and that's about it, instead of going over full matches, saying it play by play, move by move. So let me compose myself, take my breaths, whatever. Get everything on my system. Alright. Let's talk about it. Monday Night Raw. The Raw after Mania, where crowds are, the announcers kept saying that crowds are going to chant for the bad guys and boo the good guys. Everything's so backwards. The energy is unreal. Yes, the energy is unreal. Yes, the bad guys get booed, but trust me, it's not because of any backwards booking or anything like that. It's because of, they don't like the good guys. The good guys are heels now, and the bad guys the heels are faces, and the faces are heels. So that's how it's going to be, unless you're Sami Zayn and very other few exceptions. Well, the most backwards, the most heel being a face being a heel, started off the show. We had Roman Reigns starting it off, coming out to a plethora of boos. Literally got booed out the building. Came out, they showed the whole recap of Mania. It took a few minutes. Came out, maybe stood there for 5 to 10 minutes, just soaking in an arena filled with boos. Literally the show started with some Undertaker chants. Then it went from Undertaker chants and transitioned to Roman sucks. And honestly, it was quite amazing. I thought it was beautiful. I learned to see those moments as art and see those moments as a moment. It makes for great TV. It makes for great symbolism, for a great visual, everything. Roman came out, obviously booed out the building, as I said, and then as he's getting booed, he keeps trying to talk, and as soon as it's like a power. The man can work a crowd. Whether it's the way WWE wants him to or they don't want him to, he can work a crowd. He'll put the mic close to his face, boo, and the boos will simmer down, get a little more quiet, put the mic back up, boos. He eventually got 5 words out of his mouth, and the 5 words were, "This is my yard now." Heel turn? No? Maybe? I don't I want a heel turn, but it's literally like the sighting of the Bigfoot. Like, I don't think it's gonna happen. I hope it does. Praying for the heel turn, because that's what needs to happen for Roman Reigns' career. Will it happen? I guess we will find out. And we could find out maybe next week, hopefully, or in due time. Reigns he's such a, he's a heel, man. He's getting the heel reaction. Not like this is anything new to us. Getting a heel reaction, getting the biggest heel reaction of the whole show, bigger than the heels, of course. But not only a heel reaction, he's getting the biggest reaction. That the Roman sucks chant was louder than anything else on the show, and that's on a show where the Hardys debuted on Raw for the first time in how many years? 9 years, maybe? Roman Reigns has a power. He has a gift, and it's to draw heat. Use that heat. Use that heat, please. And speaking of the Hardys, they had a match with the Club, Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy versus Anderson and Gallows. And it was a rematch for the title. The Club was dominating for the beginning start of the match. A little sloppy of a match. I saw some mistakes, but it's okay. The Hardys won. It was a twist of fate leading into the Swanton Bomb from Jeff. Hardys won. It's the reason I don't care if it's sloppy is because it's still unreal that the Hardys are back in the business. They're back in WWE, and they're with the Raw Tag Team titles, and those titles look terrible, and it really looks terrible now that it's on Jeff and Matt. But I did think it looked better on the Club and Enzo and not Enzo and Cass, Cesaro and Sheamus for that matter. But nevertheless, Hardys are back, and it's still surreal, and it's still great, and it still feels amazing. It still feels amazing. Now, are they going to do the broken thing? I don't know. He's like half broken. As I talked about my WrestleMania review, it's kind of hard because he's half broken and he can't really do too much. And he cuts one promo and it's regular Matt. He cuts the next one. He's saying his obsoletes. He's saying his deletes. He's looking crazy, talking crazy. Jeff Hardy's fully Jeff Hardy. He's Jeff Hardy we know and love. Whether they're broken or not, I really don't care. I didn't really see too much of the broken product in itself. I'm just happy that Matt Hardy was able to build a name for himself. Like, I just saw the initial clip of Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy. I don't know what it was called exactly. It was a segment. EJ sent it to me, my man Eddie. And, yeah, I turned that shit off. I wasn't with it. I wasn't with the broken stuff. But the buzz that they were able to build around it was really surreal. And that was the only thing I saw, too. And I thought I was taking it too serious. Because at the time, that's what I thought it was. So I should go back and revisit that. But nevertheless, they're big right now. And it's still surreal we got them. We as a WWE. Because WWE getting them is a win for all of us. Next up, we had a cruiserweight match. A great cruiserweight match. The match of the night, Mustafa Ali versus Neville. Another great performance from the two guys. You couldn't tell that by the crowd because they're throwing a goddamn beach ball in the air. And I know that, that might be fun for the crowd and the day after Mania, it's like a tradition, whatever. But that's not cool for us, the viewers watching at home. It's a goddamn beach ball. You guys pay that money, go watch the product. Like, I guess I could say if you pay that money, you can do whatever you want, but it is what it is. No hate on the situation. It just kind of takes away from the match for us because we're distracted in seeing a goddamn beach ball fly around instead of watching the Spanish fly from the top, the springboard Spanish fly from Mustafa Ali. That was a beautiful move. It kind of woke the crowd up a little bit. Neville teased the red arrow, didn't give it to them, which he shouldn't have with that disrespectful crowd. And the crowd was good all day. I love the crowd. It was just that one moment with the beach ball because we're watching two very good performers put on a great match, and we're too busy throwing a beach ball around. It is what it is. Neville teased the red arrow, but he ends up winning with the Rings of Saturn, of course. Great time for the Cruiserweight division. Good match, and what can I say? Another up on this episode of Raw. It starts off really good. Only gets better. Vince McMahon comes out. and he announces that Stephanie will be gone for a while due to her injuries of last time. And as Vince while Vince was in the ring, he was getting Roman sucks chants. And truthfully, I think if you want to affect Roman's push in any way, that was the way to do it. Tell Vince publicly, like, hey, we know you're talking. We know this has nothing to do with Roman Reigns, but Roman sucks. Like, we know you're the one behind it. We know this is on you. Roman sucks. Like, we don't want him as a face. We want him as a heel. I mean, some don't want him at all. I just want him as a heel. Nevertheless, let's get off topic with that. He said they're going to need a new GM, that Mick Foley's fired and Steph is gone. And we got it. Teddy Long comes out, does a little Teddy dance, and he's back. Well, not quite. Well, he came out. It was a very funny moment. And it made me pop. And that dance that he does is comical. It's really comical. Vince has to tell him that, yeah, Teddy, like, it's not you. It's another Hall of Fame inductee. It's Kurt Angle. Comes out with the "You Suck" chants. And Vince also announces that the roster will be shaken up. I don't know if this means a draft. Nobody really knows. And I kind of like the fact that we don't know. We don't know if it's a draft. We don't know if it's going to be... What I would like to see personally, I wouldn't like to see a draft because I feel like the draft only works in the very beginning. And then the draft, like... What is it going to be? Is it going to be like a random... Before it was like a random drawing. Like it was almost like a roulette or like a... Just like a pin, a needle falling on a category. Like, it was just like a random pick. Like the GMs had nothing to do with it. And it was just randomness. Like John Cena got traded 2 times in one day. And he got drafted 2 times in one day. But what I would hope for, what I would say they should do, is they should tease the show off in the very beginning with Daniel Bryan and Kurt Angle. Like, literally start the show off with Daniel Bryan and Kurt Angle backstage. Or maybe in the ring, depending on how they want to do it. I would say backstage myself. It might throw it off of the TV, but for the viewers there. But have them backstage and basically trying to, trade people. Have them... Like 2 real sports GMs trying to figure out, all right, what's best for our roster. Okay, we'll give you these 2 superstars, but we want that person in return. Or we want, okay, yeah, you could have the Intercontinental title, but we want this and we want that. You know what I mean? Like, put stock in these superstars. Put stock in them. Like, if we're giving away, let's say AJ Styles does get traded. Because I think AJ Styles is the one to go. And I proposed this earlier. I don't want AJ Styles leaving, especially now that would happen of SmackDown Live. But I do want Roman Reigns on SmackDown. So maybe they could say, all right, we'll give you AJ Styles, but we're not giving him up for dirt. We want Roman Reigns. Or something of that sort. You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting. Or Seth Rollins, for example. I wouldn't mind Seth Rollins and, all the people that are on the roster on SmackDown as well. Seth Rollins, something of that sort to happen. So that's what I think they should do. And then they started off by saying like a really big trade in the very beginning of the show. And then, as the show is on, as the show airs, they keep going back to them. And, them still trying to figure out more deals. And you have a really big one at the beginning, really big one at the end, a few ones in the middle. That's how I would do it personally. I don't know what's going to happen in general, though. I don't know if it is people getting traded. I don't know if it's a draft. I don't know if it's just NXT people, which I don't think that's the case because we already had the NXT people debut. And I do like that they still debuted despite this whole roster shake. So that's my thoughts on that. I'm very excited for next week. I do work, unfortunately, so I'm going to have to turn all my spoilers off, stay off of Twitter. Probably will come home that day. I get back home at 10. Probably not going to watch Raw at all. Like, when I come home, I'm probably just going to watch it from the very beginning. I'm going to have to figure something out. Maybe I get a subscription for Sling TV or something like that. Use that trial. Because I'm not paying. But nevertheless, let me not talk about me how to finesse my way to Raw. I can watch it either way. I got my sources. But I want to watch in that HD quality. Every time I watch it off the sites I use, they have like the audio unmatched with the actual visual. So it's like 1, 2, 3. Like, it's so off, and it's terrible, and I hate it. So I really would want to watch it in HD and whatnot. Next up, we had New Day delivering an open challenge. And as soon as he said open challenge, I knew what was going to happen. Let's just say I said yeah. Because the Revival came out, Dash and Dawson, and I'm excited. Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson, the Revival, are in Raw, Monday Night Raw. They could have went to SmackDown, especially that they got the Hardys now. But I feel like if they did went to SmackDown, we would just see American Alpha and Revival again. I mean, we could put them with the Usos. The Usos are heels. I don't know. Like, is American Alpha and Revival a bad thing? Because those were great matches. And nevertheless, New Day and the Revival did have a match. It ended with Revival obviously winning their first match with the Shattered Machine. And they ended up injuring Kofi's leg. So, or knee, leg, shin, calf, whatever it was, something on his leg. And they're who they are in NXT. They're badasses that no flips, just fist, and they're great. They're brute, and they're here. Now, the thing with me is, we see these teams come up from NXT, besides Enzo and Cass, because they were never a great technical team. But the two that we had so far, the American Alpha and Revival. And NXT, we're used to such great tag team wrestling. We're traditioned with amazing tag team wrestling, and truly what I think is the best thing going for it right now, what has been the best thing going for it since the rise of American Alpha, to be honest. The last time I remember the tag team division not being on top was maybe Finn and Samoa Joe. That was the last feud. But besides that, like, the tag team division of NXT has been taking over with American Alpha, with Revival. I mean, you could even date back to Ascension. So these groups all debuted. I mean, Revival we have still yet to see, but we haven't seen the level of tag team matches that they've been performing in NXT basically mature into the main roster. So we have to get the tag team division back, and the feel that you get watching a takeover match for the tag teams and a regular pay-per-view for the tag teams is two different feels. When I'm watching and it's not even because of who I'm invested to, because truthfully, I would watch, for going into NXT Orlando, I might have saw 3 episodes of NXT, and then I saw the match at TakeOver. And I was hooked, on the edge of my seat, and dare I say, call it match of the year. I watch Raw, SmackDown every week, and Talking Smack every week, and I'm not invested into these tag teams. And their matches don't give me that feel either. In NXT, they get me invested in the tag teams through their wrestling, which is how it should be. It should be your character development off screen and then your wrestling on screen. That's just my take on that. I don't know. They don't need no gimmicks in NXT, and they just put on hell of a matches. Hell of a match is, I guess. Whatever. You know what I'm saying. But yeah, so I hope Revival could break that streak. And I think if you would have put them on SmackDown, we would have had maybe that feel come back. And that feel can carry along with the whole roster and the whole tag team division as well. But you never know. I mean, maybe they get traded, which I don't think is happening. Maybe what I like to see is New Day go. New Day go to SmackDown, because Enzo and Cass and New Day can't be on the same roster, and Enzo and Cass are more Raw than the New Day are. I say if you bring New Day to SmackDown, you fill the mid-card division, you fill the tag team division, and if you wanted, you could fill the championship, the top tier division. You could have, I would honestly love that. And if you decide to ever break up New Day, that could be your main feud on SmackDown. Can you ever see that done on Raw? I wouldn't mind seeing New Day take over the whole SmackDown as a whole. Take the tag team championships. Take the United States belt. Intercontinental belt. I think it'll be pretty interesting. And I think they should go to SmackDown. So that's what I'm hoping for. But now that they're invested into this feud, I don't know if they will. But you never know. Roster's going to get shaken up, so somebody got to go. Something has to happen. Speaking of tag teams, we had Enzo and Cass introduce himself to Kurt Angle in the funniest segment of the day. We had Enzo and Cass basically ask for a championship shot or a chance to get into the championship shot. And, you know, they did this whole, to Kurt Angle, they did their whole shtick, their whole, my name is Enzo More, blah, 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 blah. And Kurt Angle still got the comedy chops in him. He's still hilarious. And it's great. And I'm very excited to see him as a manager. Because Mick Foley, he could be funny. And we've seen that in his other run as the general manager. I think it was either on SmackDown. I don't think it was on Raw. Anyways, I think it was under the helm of Stephanie. Ironically, Stephanie, you know, Triple H, Hunter Helms, whatever. I was just trying to throw some wordplay in there. But Kurt Angle still got the comedy chops to him, whereas Mick Foley's didn't. He just had the whole gimmick of him reading the state off of his hand. But yeah, Kurt Angle, he's funny. Enzo said, you know, they did their whole SAWFT, and Kurt Angle was like, yeah, wait. That's not how you spell soft. Psh. And it was just hilarious. Kurt Angle was gold. I didn't mean to talk about this for so long, but I mean, you know what? I do have to fill out this podcast somehow, right? And the whole roster shakeup is something to talk about, and I'm going to be very excited for next week. Now, next, we had the women's segment of the day. We had a 6 women's tag match. Bailey and Sasha Banks and Dana Brooke, you know, they're friends now apparently, versus Charlotte, Nia Jax, and to our surprise, Emma. Not Emelina, Emma. And Emma looked great. But it ended up with the Banks statement on Charlotte. Charlotte taking another fall. Well, she got pinned. She tapped out. Looking weak, though. So you went her looking like the strongest woman, the strongest person on your roster, to one of the weakest. And I don't like that at all. I'm going to speak my mind on that because just because her streak is over doesn't mean her character has to be terrible and shit and weak and poor. I don't like it. What I do like is what happened after. And it was Nia Jax and Charlotte. They kind of got into a little thing. Nia Jax did something to her. I know she definitely... Nia Jax was on top, though. And before going... I said that this should be a feud for months now, it seems, but I did make it a point on my last podcast, so I'm glad that they're going in this direction, if this is the direction they're going. The next segment we had was Lesnar coming out, the new Universal Champion, and we had Paul Heyman tell a bedtime story of Bill Goldberg, basically saying how it was this unstoppable person in this town of, I forgot what the town was called, in this town, if they even had a name, though. And eventually, you know, he wiped the whole town clean, but then he took a wrong right or a wrong left, and he landed in Suplex City. Basically talking about Goldberg's demise and how he fell. He asked for new challengers. He was like, I don't know who there is. Seth Rollins, you know, we owed him that match because we never really got we never had that proper one-on-one. Then he called out Roman Reigns. Crowd booed. But he made it a point that, you know, they're both part of The Undertaker's record. Which is very true. And I do hope this match does happen and it's not at Mania. Or at least if it is at Mania, you know, to have the proper Roman Reigns be a heel. Which, you know, I'm not going to talk anymore on that. But instead of getting Roman Reigns, they got Braun Strowman. Strowman basically said he got his eyes on Lesnar, and if he wants a challenger, he got one. Then as soon as Lesnar puts the mic down and basically puts the championship down as well, Strowman kind of pedals out the ring, and he says, on my time. You know, that always heel-seeking move. But no shots were thrown. Strowman looks like he might be next up, which is good. I like it, but Strowman's just going to lose. And I love Strowman. Who knew I would be saying this, but I love Strowman. And so, I don't know. I'm gonna have to see. Another funny segment of the day, we had the tip of Kevin Owens' finger making the list of Jericho. Kevin Owens didn't like this. He didn't like that his finger was on the list, so he attacked Jericho, Samoa Joe got involved too. They put him through a convenient table that was just so happened to be there with random ass wires on it. Surprised it didn't light on fire like it usually does or spark up. But yeah, therefore Chris Jericho was not able to be a part of the match for the main event. So we got an open spot. Now we had the Enzo and Cass match that they earned, I guess, but they not earned, but they talked themselves into by Kurt Angle. And it was against Cesaro and Sheamus. A solid match. Cesaro had Enzo in the, what is it called? The king, the spin, the king of spin. Damn, I forgot what it's called. You know the spin that he does when he takes him by the legs and he just keeps rotating in the 1, 2, 3. Cesaro was babying him. It looked great. But an uppercut ended up winning the match. And we got Cesaro and Sheamus, the number 1 contenders for the Hardys title, which I think will be a great match, and that's a great way to kick off. I don't know if it's going to be... It should be next week, to be honest. And maybe Cesaro and Sheamus could go to SmackDown Live, where they are much needed. Because I think that's another one where it'll feud up the tag team division, could mid-card division, and could the championship division. If they ever split off, or even if they're a tag team still. Now we had... I'm not talking about this match. I'm looking that it came on. Sami Zayn versus Jinder Mahal. Sami was talking to Kurt Angle backstage, basically saying, his relationship with Mick Foley was great. He just wants to rekindle the same thing, blah, blah, blah. Kurt Angle wasn't having it. Jinder Mahal came out trying to say that he should have won the Andre the Giant Battle Memorial. Looking jacked. He's way too jacked. And Kurt Angle decided to put both of them in a match. And Sami won. So, yay. For the main event, we had Finn Balor coming back in the surprise entrant. He took Jericho's spot. So it was him and Rollins. So we're going to have to ignore the fact that they're a team. And they're teaming up after Rollins injured him. Okay. Versus Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens. Great match. Very good match. Impressive showing from Finn Balor. Impressive showing from everybody. But at the end of the day, Kevin Owens took the pin after a coup de grace, I should say. I said coup, I pronounced it. A coup de grace, and Finn Balor, I almost thought he was going to turn heel, but I think we should save that for another day. I do think a heel turn should come from him. But Finn Balor's back, and we should be excited. We should be very excited, because wrestling is looking great again. Everybody's back. Hopefully Shelton Benjamin, I know he's cleared. Hopefully he comes back soon. Maybe it'll happen next week with the whole roster shakeup. You never know. Now, next, this is a segment that didn't happen on Raw. It happened literally right as Raw cut air, but we were able to watch it on the network on Raw Talk. We had Goldberg come out, cut a very humbling promo, and he straight up told the crowd, this isn't a goddamn script. This is me coming straight from my heart, so you're going to shut up and listen. And only Goldberg get away with saying that. Get away with telling the crowd to, basically pay attention to him. And they actually do. But... he basically said that he did all this for his family, did all this for his son, to look like a superhero. He busted his ass. He's been eating a bunch of meals. He's been shitting his brains out, and all for this moment to lead. And he said that he thinks his time is done, but never say never. And it was a beautiful promo, the best promo I've seen him cut. And honestly, watch it. I don't know if it's on their YouTube channel, but if anything, just go to Raw Talk. And it's the opening segment there. Very good from Goldberg. He brought his son inside the ring. His son kept his shirt on this time, so all is well. His son fell as he was going over the barricade. And Goldberg said, look, he's already taking more bumps. That's more bumps than I took my whole career, except last night. Which that got a kick out of me. That was funny. But yeah, that was Raw. Much longer than I expected to talk about it, but it was a great show, guys. Besides the Sami Zayn and Jinder Mahal match, a great show, top to bottom. SmackDown, good show. Good to great. Not great. Pretty good, though. It starts with Randy Orton coming out, trying to, cut a Randy Orton promo, I guess. Wyatt comes on the screen, looking very spooky, terrifying. Challenges him to a House of Horrors match. Nobody knows what this is. Randy doesn't know what this is. Who knows if WWE knows what it is yet. But it's going to happen as Randy Orton accepts the challenge. And he said, why don't you come down in the ring? So Wyatt, using his magical powers, was right behind Orton as soon as the lights cut back on. And then as they're fighting, Eric Rowan makes a return. So we got the bearded one once again, 2/3 of the Wyatt family, or at least what the Wyatt family used to be. The other third, Luke Harper, came out to help Randy. All right, let me talk about this for a second. Why should we believe as a crowd that is it the expression that my enemy's enemy is how is it? My enemy's enemy is my friend, something like that. Because they have common enemies, they could team up. When Randy Orton was the key enemy from the very beginning, I don't like that, but it happened. I gotta take it for what it is. I just want to make it known that I do not like the fact that Luke Harper helped Randy Orton out. He could have helped him out and still attack Orton, and I would have been cool with that. But as far as just to help Randy Orton out, no, I don't like that. Next up, we had Miz and Maurice saying that Cena only proposed to Nikki Bella because they backed him into a corner, and he kind of had to. He was forced to, and that it was just gonna raise his. It was a good marketing tool. It was a little promo in the back. It was funny. It was great, and it was true. I'm gonna skip into their segment later in that day where Cena's theme music came on, and we had Cena come out, do his usual Cena stuff, the whole entrance, but it wasn't Cena. It was The Miz, and we had Maurice playing as Nikki Bella as Total Bella bullshit happened live. And it was hilarious, and it was funny, and it's great, and it was honestly probably the best thing on this show, except for one more thing, but it was one of the best things on the show. I can't say one more thing. There was a lot of good things on the show. A lot of cool debuts as well. But Miz and Maurice are still hot. They're still great. They're getting not even heat. They're getting straight applause and cheer and face reaction. So I don't know what's next for Miz. Hopefully something good. Hopefully the roster shakeup could do something for him. I hope he doesn't leave SmackDown though. Really hope he doesn't. Next we had Alexa Bliss versus Naomi for the Women's SmackDown Championship. She got her rematch again. Great match, to be honest. A very good match. We had a rear view. I'm not going to talk about play-by-play in the match, but we had a rear view, Naomi's finisher. Bliss broke out of the pin, but, Naomi did kind of stumble to get to her with her injured knee. And then this all led to Naomi winning with her new submission. So, Naomi looking strong, Bliss looking weak, unfortunately. Hopefully she does get her stock back up. I don't know what's next for this women's division, and that was almost the problem with the SmackDown. We didn't really get too much storyline, not development, but new storyline, we didn't get any new stories into this. We had Orton and Wyatt continue, and then we had, what I'm going to talk about next, Dean Ambrose and Baron Corbin continue. They had a street fight, which at first I thought was for the championship, which it should have been. But I guess Corbin got to prove himself. But Corbin ended up winning. He put Dean through a table, used his leather strap. Dean ended up taking the leather strap and straight whipping Corbin. Serious swings of that strap thrown around. Ambrose sent Corbin through a chair that was positioned inside the turnbuckle. Dean Ambrose sent Baron Corbin through a table with a flying elbow. But as soon as he got rolled into the ring, at end of days, this match got 8 minutes, and 8 minutes is fine. That's probably as long as the WrestleMania match. So why wasn't this their WrestleMania match? It has to be almost the same time as what they had at Mania. So if they were able to perform a good match like this, because this was a really good match, very entertaining match, this would have been great for the kickoff show. I said you should have done it there. Should have had Baron Corbin win the title. But this was just a regular win over Dean Ambrose. I guess the feuds are not over. So what's next for it now? You had a regular match. You had a street fight. You're going to go back to a regular match. I feel like you have to top this one now. So you got to do something. So I'm very interested to see what they're going to do. Unless maybe, I'm going to just keep saying it. Things get shaken up. Now we also had some debuts happen. Oh, I forgot. I forgot to mention one. But let's talk about the first one. We had Kurt Hawkins come out, announce the open challenge, which I knew a debut was going to happen as soon as I heard this. He said she got to the count of 10. And there's only one person who you give the count of 10 to. And that's the perfect 10, Tye Dillinger. He came out, crowd behind his back, crowd in the palm of his hands, and that building was electrifying. They went crazy. Tye Dillinger finally got his moment. He's on SmackDown. He won with the tiebreaker, of course. And great. I love it. Now, the other debut we had was actually during the Miz Maurice promo, but it wasn't part of it, so I forgot to mention it. But as Miz Maurice were rolling out the ring, we had a violinist come to the middle of the ramp. Started doing the... I guess that's how I would describe the song, the beautiful song of Shinsuke. I don't know. But Shinsuke Nakamura debuted. We got it. All he did was his entrance. But honestly, that was enough for me. That was really enough for me. I enjoyed it. I liked it. I liked that they kept him off TV for a match, because this show did have a lot going on. And his entrance was enough for me. Now, I know for the live audience, Dolph Ziggler came out and said they're going to have a match later on, and that match did happen. We didn't get that as the television audience, so interesting. But I don't know what they're going to do with Nakamura either. So this has just left me with a whole bunch of questions. Excuse me. I had 8 a.m. today. It's 1 o'clock right now, and I got work at 3. So I literally got no time to do anything. But I don't know what's next for Nakamura, so this left me with a whole bunch of questions. So maybe that's good. Maybe that just makes me want to tune into SmackDown even more next week, which I was going to anyways. But yeah, it is what it is. Shinsuke Nakamura debuted, and I'm excited. He came on the right brand, even though he wears a lot of red. He wears a lot of red. Now, we also had, Mojo cut a promo. Mojo Rawley cut a promo. I'm just trying to breeze through everything at this point. Mojo cut a promo, a very humbling one, saying, it was my WrestleMania moment, and all I could think of, what would Andre think of this? Andre will be disappointed. I hate you, Mojo. Next up, we had... I keep saying next up. I'm just going in a random order today. Alright? I'm talking about whatever comes to my mind, in my notes first, whatever. We had Shane McMahon cut a promo trying to clarify the roster shakeup. Then we had AJ Styles come out and cuts a very face promo. Nevertheless, he says, I just want to let you know, I don't want to go nowhere. SmackDown is my home. This is the house that AJ Styles built, and I don't want nobody to come on here and try to take that statement away. And then he also said to Shane McMahon, and after our match that we had at Mania, I owe you something. Put his hand out. They shaked hands. He acted like he was going to punch him, and then he did it all in a joking manner. And AJ Styles cutting a face promo. I do unfortunately think this is his last SmackDown Live, as much as it hurts my soul. Hopefully, Vince McMahon loves him now, and he proven himself, and he could do something good on the not main roster, but the Raw roster. I don't want him anywhere near that mid-card title. I mean, I wouldn't mind it, but I want him in the main event feud. But a AJ versus Brock match or a AJ versus Braun Strowman match, I don't know how those matches would turn out. I really don't. It'll be interesting, but I feel like AJ versus Randy feud is good. AJ versus Nakamura is good. AJ versus Wyatt is good. AJ versus Harper is good. He has so many options on SmackDown. You go to Raw, it looks a little more slim. So please don't have AJ leave. Have Rollins come to SmackDown. Have Roman come to SmackDown. See, the thing is, I want everybody to come to SmackDown, and I don't know who Raw should get. I want Rusev to come to SmackDown. Sami Zayn to come to SmackDown. Who could SmackDown benefit if they lost them? Usos, maybe. I like Usos on SmackDown as well. The Wyatts, no, because you got the Beast, and I don't know, like, it's hard. I would just say AJ's going. That's going to be the big name that leaves. And you got the club back. You got the club with Finn Balor, so it makes... That's one thing. That makes for an intriguing storyline. So maybe I wouldn't mind it, thinking about it now. I completely forgot about that. But AJ, I hope he stays, and I hope he's treated good if he does leave. Now, with the main event feud, we had Bray Wyatt and Eric Rowan against Orton and Harper. Exactly what I thought of the match as well. It was a whatever match. It was okay. Nothing to talk about, truthfully. It ended with Orton about to look like RKO Bray Wyatt. He did his whole run, like the whole lights out thing. He ended up at the top of the ramp, and Eric Rowan ended up taking the RKO. So Eric Rowan, welcome back. You're looking strong. Randy Orton and Luke Harper won, and that's how the show ended. Nothing more, nothing less. That's the worst part of the show, the ending by far. But, with all that being said, that's my wrap-up for Raw. That's my wrap-up for SmackDown. I don't really have any news to talk about. Well, Shelton Benjamin might be... He's cleared. Hopefully he comes back. Jim Ross, I already said he signed a deal. A 2-year deal. I don't know how they're going to use him. It's all about next week. It's all about this roster shakeup. Some people that I think should go. Roman Reigns could be one. If he does. If he doesn't, I don't mind. Sami Zayn, definitely. New Day, definitely. See, it's all raw people, man. So Cesaro and Sheamus, I wouldn't mind leaving if New Day don't. Who else? It's hard. It's very hard. Imagine Braun Strowman left. He'll be a great addition to SmackDown, to be honest. He'll be a beast. Maybe Baron Corbin to Raw. That wouldn't be terrible. It's hard. You definitely got to separate Sami and Kevin Owens, because next time they do have a match, that'll be a great match. And I don't think Kevin Owens is going. I could see Miz leaving, and I'll be very sad. But I could see Miz leaving. Dean Ambrose, can he possibly leave? He might be better off on Raw. It's hard. It's very hard. Who else? Who do you think, guys? Who do you think should switch rosters, should leave, or whatever the case is? Whatever they're doing, what do you think they're doing? Either, and I don't know. It's very intriguing. I think it's just going to be trades, but I can't think of anybody on the SmackDown roster that should go. That roster is so valuable, and that roster is so good. They also announced on Talking Smack, Usos are going to have a championship match against American Alpha next week. Usos basically complained. They're like, hey, why weren't we on the Mania card? Why weren't we defending these babies with their belts? Kind of weird promo, though. I didn't like the promo. But they said that, which I do like. I do like acknowledging the fact, like, hey, I feel disrespected that I didn't make the Mania card. I think that's what you should have done with Nia Jax. I don't know. I probably would have put Nia Jax in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal Memorial thing, too. That would have been cool. I would have enjoyed that. But I don't think... any girls leaving? I can see some girls leaving. You could have... the Raw division for women's is finally getting better. Maybe you throw in one more bone in there. Maybe you put Carmella, or you put Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss wouldn't be a bad addition. I say Mickey should stay. Becky should stay for sure. Naomi, obviously. Everybody else, though, is up for grabs, I would say. Even Natalya, even though I don't think she'll be a great addition to Raw. But I really think that's it. I can't think of anybody that could be from SmackDown to Raw. It's hard. Because SmackDown, everybody that they use so well. Luke Harper. But I'd rather him on SmackDown. Like, I don't know. I just think of Luke Harper because he really doesn't have anything to do right now. Is he going to get involved with the Wyatt feud? I mean, it looks like he is, but what is really his spot going to be? I don't know. Hate to end the podcast on such a confusing and hard note to leave, but you let me know what you think is going to happen. You let me know who you think is going to go. I want to see some trades happen. Show me some propositions. Do your own fantasy booking. I'm going to take a break from that fantasy booking. I did my WrestleMania Dream Card in episode 6, and that was it. I'm done. Until, I think I'm going to do one for every Big 4 pay-per-view. So, SummerSlam, That usually happens in August. I'll bust one out in July, but that's far. It's far. If it's in July, then I'll do it in June, whatever the case is. But as far as everything else, hope you guys enjoyed listening for today. You can find us on YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud under the name AllOfTheAboveEnt. We have a wrestling podcast, obviously, that you're listening to right now. We have an MMA podcast, First Strike podcast, that's what it's called. And we have our NBA podcast called The Triangle Podcast. So definitely check out all of those if you're interested. Hope you guys enjoy. Once again, thank you. Thank you for listening. Leave a comment, leave a like, do all that good stuff. Also, if you could subscribe, that's lovely. If you're listening on iTunes, if you could just hit that 5-star rating or whatever rating you think we deserve, that's great. All as well. So thank you guys for listening. You guys have a good one. Enjoy the shake-up. And how did you like my dong I threw in at the ending last time? For the 3 people that listened. My life's a joke. Dong, dong. Maybe I'll throw it on this one. Depends how I feel. I'm out.
This is my yard now.